Hello, my name is Aaron, and welcome to Board Games, Bricks, and Hobbies. Today, we're taking a look at this Lego Znap set that I picked up thrifting a couple days ago. Alright, so right here we've got our Znap set. It's set 3591 Rota-Beast. At least that's what it was called in the United States. Now I'm going to set aside the model here and just take a brief look at the box real quick. My set is incomplete. I did pick it up at a thrift store. However, I do feel like I have enough of the contents here to warrant reviewing it as is. So these were the leftover pieces that I had after building the main model. So a couple of beams and some other odds and ends. This is the motor. Again, my set is incomplete, so I did not get the battery box, but it's just your standard 9-volt stud attachment there. So with that, we'll set aside the box and take a look at the main model. So I'm not exactly sure if this is the Rota-Beast. Maybe this is the Roto thing and this is the Beast. Again, I'm really not quite sure on that. But regardless, the build was interesting. Again, this is a Znap set, which is technically Lego. However, it's a lot more like Connects, at least in the way that you assemble things. So the helicopter came together relatively nicely. It's got these wheels that are used for the jets or whatever. And then this, which is some sort of buggy. Mine's a little rickety here because I am missing just a couple small beam pieces, and I'm also missing 3 wheels. But I feel like I get the gist of it. Now, one of the reasons that it's slightly rickety is because it has a transforming feature. As you can see on the box right here, it turns into some sort of robot, so maybe that's why it's the Beast, so it's the Roto-Beast. I don't know. So in order to transform it, you release these pins right there, you fold these up, and then this whole module will shift upwards like that. It'll lock in, and then this top part will fold down, and that's getting cut off there. But essentially you end up with a sort of robot kind of walking thing. Again, mine's a little bit uneven because it should have more wheels, but this would essentially roll around kind of like a odd mechanical Godzilla thing. So that's one of the reasons why it's so rickety, is because this is only attached at one point so that it can hinge up and down. So yeah, there's that, and then to transform it back, you just go the opposite direction, like that, and release those. And this is, I guess, intended to hold the helicopter. It doesn't really have any sort of attachment, so it doesn't click in there or anything, but it will sit on there, and you can just kind of drive your helicopter around. Now, given that this was a 9-volt set, both the helicopter and this buggy have an attachment, so you could put the motor right there and then power your helicopter like so, or you could put the motor right in here and then power the buggy. Now, So overall, this set would have retailed for approximately 30 USD. And for the amount of stuff that you get, I don't think it's terrible. It's a decent size. The helicopter is a pretty decent size, as is the buggy. And aside from the oddness of the vehicles, particularly this buggy, they're decent builds. This actually reminds me of kind of like a sort of Mars space rover almost. And then this is just a pretty typical helicopter. And you did get this motor, which is a nice addition, good for playability. And overall, a decent value, I think. But my main qualm with this is just really just the building experience. Now, I may just have a bias towards Lego. Maybe if I'd grown up with Connects, I'd feel differently. But the build just isn't nearly as satisfying. You just like have these little snaps, and they can be a bit difficult to pry and unpry. I found that the easiest way to kind of undo these is to just give them a small twist, and then they pull apart. But it's really just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but even if this wasn't, maybe if this wasn't carrying the Lego brand, I would feel differently. But it is definitely a different style of toy. So I guess if you judge it from that perspective, it's still a decent set. And these beams do have some compatibility with the system, of course. They've got Technic axle holes and all of that. So it is cross-compatible. But overall, I would say it's probably not really worth picking up these days. But if like I were to see just some Znap somewhere at a yard sale or something, maybe I would still pick it up if it was a decent price, because it is an interesting system, but probably not one that I would gravitate towards or purchase just to have more of it. But yeah, it was just an interesting little experiment that Lego tried, and obviously it wasn't successful. But I don't think it's as terrible as a lot of the people in the community might think it is. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on this Znap set. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again in another one. Take care.